Between what we've lived through and what our day jobs demand, we've spent some serious time researching neuroscience. The pattern we keep seeing is the way we think shapes the way we behave. And over time, those behaviors shape our outcomes, often before we even realize we've made a choice.
So in that research of neuroscience, it opened the door to neuroplasticity, habit loops, stress responses, microdecisions, all the brainy stuff that explains why just try harder is a trash strategy. In this lab, we're rewiring habits one experiment at a time.
Welcome to I² Lab.
My work trip to Switzerland and Germany has been a huge milestone in my weight loss journey. And I just finished that trip, and I noticed a certain pattern on that trip that I wanted to bring up with you.
Okay.
There was a certain us versus them pattern that came up in the eating and socialization aspect of it. And you and I were discussing it off air, and I thought it was a good topic to bring up for a podcast.
Because we've talked before, words matter. And even if we don't say those words out loud about what we're doing and the people around us, it's still like it's there. It's like there's this invisible, hidden line between us versus them.
Yeah.
So we could get into maybe define that for anybody who was like, what are they even talking about?
Yeah. And even if it's not words, it's just actions even. Because I didn't even necessarily...
Drinking cold brew, sorry.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, there's lots of coffee involved in this one. Yeah, it wasn't even necessarily words. It was just actions in this situation. So I was on this trip with my direct manager, and we have both been on a very, very great journey of weight loss. We have done amazing. Both very proud of ourselves, and we both had some pretty lofty goals before this trip, which we both met. So we're like, yeah, like we've done a great job.
Has there, quick,
yes.
interrupt you. Has there been any sense that you're getting that like he's done?
No.
Yeah, and same with you.
Yeah, no, we are both, although we...
Did you guys talk about it at all? About what happens next?
Not in concrete numbers.
But you just, it was inferred, maybe?
It was inferred, yeah.
And okay.
Yeah, so I guess I'll even backtrack. So I've probably mentioned this before, but if just in case if they haven't listened to those podcasts, I would say 6 months before this trip, even 7 months before this trip, Brandon looked at me and he said, when we go on these international trips, there's a lot of walking. There's a lot, and Lori's nodding her head. She's been on these trips. She knows. She had the same goal when she went on a similar trip. We have the same parallel lives.
It's just been 2.5 years apart. No,
yeah,
I think
3 years probably.
Is it 3 years?
I think 3 years, almost like to the month. That's the crazy part.
That's crazy. And you're 3 years younger than I am.
I know, isn't it weird? Like same age.
Freaky.
It is freaky. But it's a very European lifestyle. It's just a social aspect with the way they do things.
Their 10,000 steps a day, I'm just using that metaphorically, is like a light day.
Right.
I have to work to get 10,000 steps.
Yeah.
Because we just don't walk everywhere. Like it's just a completely different lifestyle.
We have watches that monitor, have I stood in an hour? Have I moved lately? We actually have to monitor that stuff. And it's just built into their lives. It's just they're even, I noticed, now this is probably taking a while to get there, but this is a great convo to have. I noticed when I was over there in their workshops and in the way they structure their days, and Brandon even mentioned this, it's just a different pace.
It's a completely different pace.
It's much slower.
But talk about what okay, good. I was going to say, go into what that means.
He even told me, he was like, because he knows how I am, he was like, you're going to be so frustrated when
if you
go
let
over
yourself be and have expectations about it being at your pace that we are accustomed to here.
He just warned me. He was like, you're just take it all in, just relax, enjoy it, and just take it at their pace. Because he knows I am a very high achiever. I like to get stuff done. I like to just knock it out and go. But I am also somebody who likes to think things through, and I like to collaborate. So there's two sides of me, and he was just trying to speak to that side of me, like just and I did go into that. This is a networking social event. You know, I wasn't going in there just trying to knock some stuff out.
No,
so
you're not going to walk away with boxes checked.
Exactly.
In the way of task oriented, but you will walk away with networking boxes checked.
Exactly.
It's just a different box he was wanting you to focus on.
So he was just preparing me like, it's slower.
I think this is important to talk about, though, because this is a part of when we talk about identity. This is what it is. Identity, it's a multitude of things, but it is more of, you know, if you wanted to, if I had to boil it down into just a couple words, it's a sense of this is just what I do. And that's just what they do. Their pace during the day is slower, but also consistent.
Yes.
They don't deviate from working on things like during the day, but at night they don't like to talk about work as much as we do. And I think we bother them that we end up bringing it over.
Because dinners, we're still talking about, and they don't want to talk about work. They want to talk about personal lives and what our hobbies are. And we're still like, oh, but my hobby is work. You know, I like to read about neuroscience, and they're just like, but don't you like to
ski and hike and like, color and paint? And
like, no, I like to learn about adult education. And, you know, they're just like, how boring of a person are you? But they have so much. I do, although I love our culture and who we are. I mean, don't get me wrong, but I do I admire their structure. Mm-hmm. I admire their ability to stay on task.
Their discipline.
Which
I am very low in.
Yes. We, as Americans, in a work meeting, we will start at point A and it's almost like, picture in your mind a 3-year-old's coloring artwork. Like, we're all outside the lines. We're everywhere. And we will get to point Z, to the end point.
It's really squirrely. There's lots of loops. There's loop backs. There's loop forwards.
We'll
there's
get
loop
there.
downs, ups.
But oh my gosh, it is painful for somebody who wants structure.
And that's where I like that they bring a structure to us. There's like, we are going to talk about this. This is the why. This is how we're going to do it. This is all we're going to talk about today. And this is our goal that we're going to get out of the day. And it seems like we could get so much farther, to me. And I do appreciate the structure of it, although I do think there's flaws in both.
Absolutely. I think, and now we're just like diagnosing how we work differently, but like our method takes more time, but we uncover a lot of beautiful things we might not even realize that we needed to uncover.
To a level that if you don't get down to, it's going to resurface again and again and again. And this actually feeds right into weight loss, because if you only ever just change your food during a weight loss journey, forget about being able to maintain it.
Yeah, you're
just
not digging into
to
all the other little issues.
If you don't peel the onion back far enough, you are not uncovering the dysfunctional behavior or and I say that it sounds harsh, but there is some sort of regulation that you have, and it's a behavior that you have to a stimulus that is dysfunctional in some way because you are turning to food to figure it out.
Right. What your thought process about, like when somebody says X to you, it just raises the hair on the back of your neck and it upsets you
because
until
somebody
you turn to
said
food.
it to you when you're 10 years old.
Right.
And now that's surfacing for you.
Yeah.
And then you want to regulate. You
Yeah.
want to, that is discomfort in the body. It's actually similar as pain in
Right.
the body, physical
Right.
pain. And then your regulation is to turn to food, to comfort.
Right.
Because it has worked.
Which is a workshop.
Yes, actually coming up.
Actually coming up. Yep, absolutely. So stay tuned, hopefully, if this posts soon. Or hopefully you've attended recently. So yeah, I think it's beautiful that we do it that way. However, it takes more time. So there's pros and cons to it. I love the way that they do it in Europe. I do admire that as well. So obviously there's no right or wrong way to do it. I'm not judging. But I went down this path because Brandon was saying that they at night they walk a lot. And so we set a goal to lose 50 pounds before we went.
Yep.
So that was our goal.
Which you guys had, just for the listeners to know, because they could be listening to this 3 years from now.
Yeah.
You had 6 months, 5 months?
We roughly had 6 months to do it. And of course I dragged my feet and didn't start right off the bat, but I still did it.
Mm-hmm.
I still met my goal. And he met his goal too. And we were, that's why I said when we went, we were like, we were so proud of ourselves. We did it. So when we were there, it wasn't like, we're done. It's like, yep, we met our goal. We're done. We achieved it. Now let's eat like crap now that we're here.
But I think I personally would have done that before. I would have been like, I reached my goal. Now I could go back to doing all the things I did before.
Let's eat the schnitzel and the sauce. It's like, no, we didn't do that. We, and that's why I say it wasn't like a check the box, we're done, and let's go back to eating the way we used to be. So we didn't talk about like, what is our next numerical goal of losing 20 pounds, et cetera, et cetera. But we were locked in the whole trip.
You guys weren't diving headfirst into cinnamon rolls and the croissants and the all the amazing things that are over there, which actually are less sugary and
I know
taste really good.
There were a couple times he was like, "Are you going to have the bread?" He'd ask me, and he was like, "Well," and I was like, "No, I'm good. I've had bread before," and he would say something like, "Well, the bread is better over here," and I was like, "It is better over here, but I'm good." I was like, I don't need it. And he would just, he kind of look at it and he was like, I'm okay too, and he would just kind of like, and I was like, you can have it. And he was like, no, I'm okay.
Which isn't us, because what if you weren't there?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying he would have done anything different.
He might,
but there's power in us.
Yeah. So,
okay, let's get into it. What did you notice?
It was, oh man.
Let's talk about some of the things that you have been doing to lose the 50 pounds.
I noticed so much. Yeah. So some of the things I have been doing to lose the 50 pounds, obviously eating calorie restriction, obvious, just to state that out there. Higher protein, much higher protein. So getting that in. Less carbs, but I haven't been cutting out carbs completely.
No.
So I would say on average, I've been getting 50 carbs a day.
Okay.
So that's probably more than a lot of people who are listening to this podcast. Some days I get 80 carbs a day. Mm-hmm. I'll have a day in the week where I have 80 carbs, and some days I have 15 carbs. It's just a really low carb day for me.
But on average,
it's
somewhere between 50 and 80.
50. Yeah, 45 carbs a day, I'd say. 50 carbs a day is average. Most days I try to keep it pretty low. I'd say probably 25, 30 carbs. I try to keep it pretty low, but I'll have that spike in a day on the weekend where I try to allow for something. And
what kind of carbs are you having?
I'm having more high fibrous carbs. I'm not doing like a cupcake. I'm not doing, I will have bread, but I try to make it more of like a whole like bread that I actually make at home. So I have had pizza, just so everybody knows, but it's
With the crust.
with the crust. Yeah. But it is homemade pizza that I made myself at home. So I knew exactly what kind of flour was in it, and I knew what was in it. So I completely controlled it. I knew that it was wholesome and whole foods. It wasn't something that was crap that had a lot of
seed oils or a different
any
kind
of that stuff in it.
whatever.
Yeah. So, yeah, I've, I guess I'm going to use air quotes because I don't like this word, treated myself, right? I've done that to a point where I've had higher carb days. But so honestly, when I went to Europe and Brandon's like, are you going to have the bread? It was really easy for me to say, I'm good. I've had bread. I haven't restricted myself for the past 5 months, 4 months.
You haven't, yeah. It's not like bread hasn't crossed, some sort of bread hasn't crossed your lips in 4 or 5 months.
Yeah. And it's been good bread. I've made it at home. It was great.
I want to bring light to the fact that, and I don't even know if you've noticed it, that you didn't say, I can't or I won't.
Yeah, I didn't notice it.
You aren't saying those types of things. And just for the listeners to know, I went through a weight loss journey for 18 months. I am now a coach. You haven't asked me once what you should and shouldn't be eating. And I haven't told you either by design.
Yeah, I haven't.
Because you have to figure out how it's going to be in your own life.
Yeah.
And this is where in the lab.
And that is interesting because you're my sister and I could easily just ask you, but I haven't.
Well, there's things that are like, okay, so we're going to go here. What are you going to get?
Yeah.
But it's not like, what should I get?
Yeah.
That's not the conversation that's happening. I'm not telling you, look, you should probably have 10 carbs a day. I don't believe that either.
Yeah.
I think you should have this many calories a day. I haven't that, none of that, just to be clear and open with everyone, that's not happening.
Mm-mm.
And there are days where you don't have things that are food prepped. Me and Randy are like, we are like food preppers for the week. Well, she's like, hey, I got to go to Starbucks
and get my chicken jalapeno cream cheese pocket.
It's like a tortilla. It's wrapped in. Is it a tortilla?
Yeah, it's 200 calories, and it's such a low calorie. It's pretty low carb, and it's like 15 grams of protein. But I put the perfect aminos with it, so it helps up the protein. And is it the perfect lunch? No.
You're still losing on it.
But I'm losing.
I think that's important for people to see, though, because, I mean, okay,
It's on the go lunch,
But you do it probably once a week?
Once a week, every other week.
Something like that.
Yeah, I didn't do it last week, so I'd say every other week, yeah.
But you're still losing. And so I think it's important for people to see that you can have something out at times. And yes, I am sure it is made with the lowest grade of whatever and seed oils and it's processed because I'm sure it's frozen at one point and they pull it out and then they heat it up and
it's processed. Like you said, it's processed. But my thought is once every 14 days, my body can handle it because I'm eating really good every other day. You know what I mean? I'm taking care of my body. My body should be able to handle it. And my thought is that if I stop losing, if I stall and it doesn't, and I need to reassess, then those are the things that I'm going to adjust.
Yeah.
That's when I'm going to tap on you and be like, Lori, this is what I'm doing and it's not working.
Yeah.
What the heck do I need to adjust? And I know that those are the things I'm going to have to cut out.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
There's people who I've been through the journey with them that never have to reduce their reduce their calories down. Like that we're told 1,400 calories at the beginning of their journey. And they never had, and they totally got all the way down at 1,400, never adjusted it. Now I think their carbs were very low.
Yeah.
Probably less than 20 a day. That's what I don't agree with as much anymore, that I do think that for some people,
that restriction is,
for some people, I do think a higher amount of whole, real food, carbs, there's nothing wrong with that. And I'm shining a spotlight on that because I think there are people that are going to hear this and would have thought that they have gone off the rails if they would have had a 200-calorie jalapeno cream cheese pocket from Starbucks.
Yeah.
I would have been one of them.
Yeah.
Because I was so like, I'm doing the plan, I'm doing this, these are my rules, this is my food list, this is the calories I need to do. Oh my God, what is this going to do to my body? What am I going? I'm going to get on the scale in the morning, and I may have been up at one point in my journey if I had done that because my carbs were so low.
Right.
So to have that
Your
bump
body
in
would have
carbs,
freaked out.
and then I would have freaked out. I'm like, oh my God, I can't ever have anything like this. What am I doing? And that's not true.
Yeah.
Your body needs time to adjust to an increase in carbs. If you have been that low, that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. And that doesn't mean you're never, ever going to be able to have something like that. But that's what I would have thought. So I don't think I'm the only person that would have thought that. And I want to bring light to that.
And I just hate that anybody feels that restricted because we're all doing this for a really long time.
Forever.
Yeah.
This is the long game. This is forever.
Right.
Now, are you going to be eating the same amount of calories you are today forever when you're in maintenance? No.
No. Yeah.
Especially as you add in even more resistance training.
Right.
And then you start like finding out where your total daily energy expenditure really is. So you can find your maintenance calories, which is probably not as much as some people think, but it also is more than some people think. Like typically, if you want to be in a calorie deficit, you could take yourself down 20 to 30% of what your total daily energy expenditure is. For some people, that's like 300, 400 calories. That's what?
Yeah.
A muffin?
Yeah.
You know, a big blueberry.
Which is probably not what you should
it's not,
fill it up with anyway.
No,
so,
it's not.
Yeah.
But it's not as much as you think. But if you compare it to 400 calories for like a big blueberry muffin that's got like crumbles on top, which is probably around that, depending on how big it is.
I
know,
love
amazing. Or take that same amount of calories and put it in real whole foods. That 400 calories looks a lot different on a plate if you're talking about sweet potatoes or a grilled chicken.
It's a whole meal.
It's a whole meal.
Yeah.
So and then that's the difference between, oh my gosh, I can't eat all that food. Well, you could certainly eat. I could take down that I don't care how big that blueberry muffin is. The bigger, the better. I could take down that sucker in
like 4 bites. We're done.
Is this a competition?
Yeah.
Okay. So back to.
Yeah. So what I was doing, I would say that's my diet. Working. I mean, you want to go into working out, all that stuff, or are we good? Yeah.
You weren't doing much at first. I think it's important for people to not feel like they have to do everything all at once.
Yeah. Not much at first. I'd say maybe 3 months in, I started to work out. And of course it started with walking and then started with resistance training because I saw what happened to Lori. I mean, Lori has talked about her story a lot. And of course, I've heard about the losing of the muscle as we lose weight. And obviously, the sooner that we start with resistance training, the better. I would rather, of course, my thought process, flawed or not, if I'm lifting weights and building muscle as I'm losing weight, then hopefully I'm losing more fat than I am muscle because I'm gaining the muscle. So I am lifting weights 2 to 3 times a week, and I'm playing sports 1 to 2 times a week, and walking every day.
Yep.
So, playing sports is like pickleball or something like that, to the best of my ability. I'm not very athletic.
You're moving your body.
I'm actually getting better. I'm almost as good as Adam at pickleball, which is pretty good. I know. I actually won my first game yesterday. So, I played against Adam. So I played with a different person.
Do you know the terms? Like there's something about a kitchen.
Yeah, the kitchen.
Okay. I don't know these terms. I had listened to a podcast recently where they were talking about the mechanics of it, and it sounds complicated.
It's really complicated at first, and scoring is interesting because you have to like switch places, and there's server 1 and server 2, and you have to like, when you call out the score before you serve, there's like 3 numbers that you have to say in a certain order. And you have to, when you serve, you have to stay out of the kitchen. And it sounds complicated, but it's actually really fun. And
I've heard great things.
Yeah. It's fun because somebody like Adam, who is super athletic, like he played hockey in college and He's very competitive. Like, I mean, he's screaming when he plays sports, and he's like hitting the ball as hard as he possibly can. And I'm just like wanting to get it over the net. I'm just like all, yay, let's just keep it going. You know, I'm just like, yay. And this ball is, it's hollow, you know, so you can hit this ball as hard as you possibly can, or you can just lightly tap it and it's basically going to go the same speed, you know? So, I mean, yes, it'll go a little harder if you smack it as hard as you can, but it doesn't matter how aggressively you play. It's still competitive.
Yeah.
Like, so it's nice because I can play against Adam and he can play as hard as he wants and we're still comparable.
And it's becoming your guys' identity.
Yeah, it is. Because we can't play sports together. Like volleyball, he would murder me if he actually wanted to, like, I mean, he'd spike, like if he actually wanted to play aggressively with me, he would murder me. You know what I mean?
It's also something you guys are bonding over.
Yeah, it is.
And creating together.
Yeah. So what am I seeing what did I see in Europe?
Yeah.
So much. It's hard to know, like, where do I start? Of course, dinner started at...
No, start with a plane.
Oh, sorry, the plane?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that was on the way back.
Okay. Well, then we'll end with that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, that was on the way back. So dinner would start at 6, but...
If you're lucky.
Oh.
That's... No. That means you got there at 6.
Yeah. Dinner on the agenda started at 6.
Which you walk to typically.
Yeah. Luckily, dinner, we were in this, like, this sounds so fancy, but it was like in this veranda and we never left this hotel area, this little villa that we were in. It was all very historic and it was very pretty. And it was like this courtyard area that we were in. And there were multiple restaurants that were in the area. So we never had to leave. So luckily, we never had to get on a bus and go anywhere. We didn't waste time. Unluckily, we didn't really
get to walk.
Yeah.
Yeah. We walked
yeah. You guys got to go on excursions. We did not.
One night it was like 5-minute walk. The next night it was like a 25-minute. It was so, but that was like, I was like, I was still 230 pounds. I didn't want to walk a mile and a half, but I was okay.
Yeah. My excursions or our excursions, which is something that I noticed, is I started to hang out with people who wanted to go on walking excursions, and we would like walk to the local grocery store. I mean, that was like,
which is getting into us
versus them.
Yeah,
exactly.
Okay.
But so I'll get into that here in a minute. But yeah, so dinner would start, I'm using air quotes, start at 6. And of course, in my naivete, or whatever you want to say that, I would go down there thinking, oh, good, I get to start eating at 6 because I'm like, that's like dinner time. Like that's I want to eat at 6. So I get down there and there's like these like buckets of wine, like iced wine and all this stuff. And everybody's just kind of standing around.
They're milling around.
They're milling and they're all just talking to each other. And
there's just nothing wrong with that. It's a networking event. You're supposed to do that.
Okay, fine. So of course, I'm approached. They're like, "Would you like red or white?" You know, and I'm just like, "I'll take water. I don't want to drink any alcohol. I just not doing alcohol. Nothing against it. Don't want to drink it. It's empty calories, obviously. Plus, not doing alcohol on my plan. Body doesn't process it right. We all know this. So I'll take water." And they kind of look at you like, "Really? Are you sure?" I mean, they just kind of give you this look.
You are the 6-headed monster over there. You are here too.
Yes.
If you are not drinking.
Yeah.
It is a neurotoxin, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So, and I would have to reassure them. I mean, they are very sweet, very great waiters, staff there. And they just like, "Are you sure?" And
it's almost like you'd be like, "Look, I'm a raging alcoholic. I'm not allowed to have this."
I actually said that a couple times just to joke. I was like, "I'm an alcoholic," just to kind of like, I kind of tell like the worst jokes inappropriately, and like they could tell I was joking, and they would just kind of laugh. But honestly, it shut them up. Like it would stop them from like, "Are you sure?" Because they would ask you like 5 times, and I was like, still water. I'm like, I want still water because I didn't want the sparkly stuff. I was tired of like constantly drinking the sparkling water or the gas.
The
water,
gas. They call it gas.
yeah,
Yeah.
the water with gas. So I just wanted the still water. So they would bring me still water after asking me 5 times if I was sure or not. And then, of course, I had to stand around and just stare at people while they're drinking for about 2 hours. We would not be called into dinner. Minimum. Yeah, we would not be called into dinner. Like the doors to the restaurant would not open until about 8.
Yeah, they're not physically eating before 8 o'clock.
Yeah. Brandon did not come the first night because he was in Switzerland for a different global event.
Mm-hmm.
So I was representing him as his successor for the U.S. At the HR People Management Conference. So he was not there. Actually, the first 2 nights he was not there. So the first night was a smaller event. I'm talking about the second night. It was a larger thing. Of course, in that 2-hour period, well, I'm just kind of staring at everybody and I'm saying I'm staring at them, but I'm talking, I'm mingling. I was probably approached, I'm not kidding, 15 times. Are you sure you would not like some wine? I'm good. Thank you. I'm totally fine with water.
Think there was a superiority that what was your feeling that why they kept asking? I think we need to talk about, you and I aren't big drinkers anyways, but I think there are those that will listen to this that are like, look, wine is my thing.
Yeah.
Like I come home and I have a glass of wine.
From my perspective, and somebody else would probably have a completely different take on this. I am not a big wine drinker. Even if I wasn't on a weight loss journey, I probably would have gotten a glass of wine and just held it just to shut everybody up. And I probably wouldn't have even drank it because when I drink wine, my face gets red. And I honestly don't really enjoy it all that much. Honestly.
I think it's the sulfur you're allergic to. I am too, though. My top of my head itches.
I honestly would just rather have water because I like the taste of it and I'm thirsty. I just don't really want to drink wine. I felt like it was more of a, she is a guest here.
Hospitality.
Yeah. We want to make sure that she is comfortable. She's getting what she wants and she needs.
Yep.
And our wine is so great that we want to make sure that she is experiencing it and she's enjoying herself. And I think they just wanted to make sure that I was experiencing and enjoying it just like everybody else. But again, I'm a very positive person, and I didn't think it was a superiority thing.
Did you feel social uncertainty?
I did not, no. But I am very confident in the fact that I don't like wine.
I think that's where we might differ from other people, though, around this. I want to make sure that even though we wouldn't, and if this part of it wasn't hard for me necessarily, I actually really like beer. And I found that when I was taking over the National Service Operations Manager role, that I was managing all men. Yeah. And they were all far superior to me when it came to their knowledge and their engineering and everything that they do. Yeah. So to bond, I liked beer. We would go and have beers together. That's just what we did. And like, oh yeah, I like hoppy, skunky beer. And like, I could talk that kind of, not all of them drink beer. So that's not exactly like, I can only bond with them over drinks. Right. But that's what I felt like at the time. So when 2 years in, I had the role when I started to do this, I stopped drinking. So we didn't but I could still say, can I smell your beer? Yeah. So I could still talk about it in a way that was like, look, I'm still with you. I'm just not with you. Yeah. Like I still like it. My body just actually doesn't like it at this point. Look, I'm in my 40s. I'm a female. Things totally change from a histamine, from a hormonal perspective, and your body does not process it in the same way. Yeah. That is just fact. Right. Fact. So for me, it became less about the weight aspect of drinking and more of the actual how I feel when I drink. And that's where I leaned into what I was like, I'm just not going to sleep well. I know this sounds like I'm really old, guys, but can I smell it? And can I just watch you drink it?
And they probably laughed.
They
probably
did,
thought it was
and
cute.
they just moved on.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure they knew that I didn't have a superiority
Yeah.
to them, though, like, oh, I don't drink, pip, pip,
Yeah.
kind of a thing.
Yeah.
It's not a moral issue. I don't want anyone to feel uncomfortable because they are doing something and I am not.
Yeah.
Because there could be a morality to that, potentially.
I tried to keep it really low key. I wasn't like, I'm not drinking. I tried to keep it really low key. I tried to just, I just held my glass close to me and I just, I didn't make it a scene. If I really flipped this, if I flipped the script like you just did, I was thinking if it was like a chocolate tasting for 2 hours and we had like dark chocolate and milk chocolate and it probably would have been really hard for me. This is interesting. Yeah. Would you have felt more of a social disconnection to that because they were experiencing something you wanted to experience? If they came by 15 times and asked me if I wanted to try
on the 10th time, you might have been like, okay,
the
fine.
World's best, because we're in Switzerland and Germany, and they wanted me to try the world's best dark chocolate that was like handmade 10 minutes from there. And this is my one opportunity. I
probably would have too.
I probably would have sampled it. On the 15th time.
Interesting, because I think when we want to have the thing, because you didn't really want to have the thing.
I didn't.
But if we wanted to have the thing, are we scared of losing the connection? I want to make sure we don't gloss over this.
Yeah, because it's, there is a discipline here. Right. There's a, I don't want it. So it was really easy for me. It was very easy for me to stay in my lane and say, no, thank you. And I didn't feel socially threatened. I didn't feel disconnected because I was still able to talk to these people. I didn't feel judged. I didn't feel like, oh my God, she's not drinking. Right. I didn't feel like anybody was looking at me in a weird way. Everybody was welcoming. It just wasn't a thing at all. But if I really, really wanted it, I think I would have gotten in my own head and I would have been overthinking it because I would have been thinking, man, you really do want this.
So there would have
really
been
good.
More cognitive dissonance there.
But you really want this. Are you sure you're not going to try
this? And I think
that's
it. So it becomes a social discomfort, but also the cognitive, you're already battling your cognitive dissonance around, I know this isn't going to get me to my goal. So I'm going to say no, but I really do want it. Because I do want to experience it.
This is your chance.
Then layered onto that is the social connection, which once that compounds, I feel like your willpower can start to wane.
Yeah. Then you might start to think, man, are people looking at me? You know what I mean?
Do they think I'm superior to them because I won't have this?
Yeah.
If it is chocolate versus the wine. Okay. I don't want to
start going down that road. You might
berate. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I don't want to beat a dead horse to death around this, but I don't want us to gloss over it because we don't give a rip about alcohol.
Because a lot of people do love wine, and and
it is their connection to. It could be their connection to the rest of their family.
Absolutely.
I just thought of something too.
Yeah.
Randy just got back from a wedding.
Oh yeah, and his family.
They like their alcohol. They like their alcohol. Their social events, they are drinkers.
Yeah.
And he wasn't drinking. And not just he's like, it's not that I didn't drink the entire time. I just had a beer like one night. And he said, it was funny. I asked him how it was, and typically he will give in to social situations. Like when he's on his work trips is when he comes back, and I can tell he snores. He doesn't snore if he's not drinking. Yeah. It's wild. He used to snore like to the point where I wasn't getting sleep.
Which is interesting to show what it does to your body.
And
that's physically.
I'm like, don't lie to me because it will come out when you snore, buddy. I know exactly. or he smoked cigars. Those two things, which I don't care either way. It's he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, he's a grown man.
But it also is affecting his health,
Right.
apparently, because he's not getting as good of sleep, and his body is doing something different.
Right.
It's reacting differently to what he has done to it.
Yeah.
Period. He said the thing that shocked him the most was his dad. His dad really just kept, like he said it once, like, "Oh, not drinking, huh? What's going on?" And then he's like, "Pam, something's wrong with your son. He's not drinking." I mean, he's like, he kind of just went on and on about it. And he was, Randy's like, "Look, Randy's at 15% body fat right now." He's like, I wanted to say, you don't get down to 15% body fat and have the muscles I do by drinking like that. And that's not really true. You probably can, as long as you're in a calorie deficit, but you're metabolically.
Maybe if you're in your 20s.
That's just it. Like we're in our,
right.
We're deep in the 40 zone.
Right.
So we have to be, anyway, he was really, his entire family drinks to have a good time.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because his dad really hasn't done that. So I don't know what it was.
Jealousy?
Maybe I said the same thing to him.
Mm-hmm.
Because is his dad thinking that in my 40s, should I have made different choices? And I don't know. I don't know.
And maybe not so much jealousy, but there's like a lost connection there.
I think it's more the connection.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't know his son like
Right.
he thought he might have.
Right.
So there's what's normal, what's acceptable, and then what keeps us connected is really the trifecta of the social identity theory around what we're doing.
Yeah.
Us versus them.
Yeah. Absolutely. There was an episode of I'm going to get this wrong, but we talked about it a few weeks ago. It was off air. It was The Biggest Loser.
Yeah.
And somebody came home for like break around Christmas, and wasn't it their son was really upset or something?
I think
and
it
they
was.
were crying
I can't remember
because they like didn't recognize their mom or something.
Oh, I think so.
And she started to like eat really bad again because she was upset because her son was upset. Mm-hmm. And I think it was like, it wasn't a jealousy thing, but it was like a connection thing.
But it doesn't masquerade as connection.
Yeah.
Like you're not even really sure why you're doing it.
Right.
But on some subconscious level, you feel like you've lost that connection.
Yeah. You've lost that person
Because who you know. And the social construct that you guys have carved out together has now been shifted.
That relationship is not the same.
Yeah.
It's similar, I feel like, to Randy's situation.
It's okay. We get to still talk and be together. So
but we always ate together. We always drank together.
We always had the dessert together.
Yes.
We always had the 5 appetizers together, which I still love. But you can choose good appetizers and still experience good appetizers. True. They don't have to be fried, pickled. I mean, I'm saying that's bad, but 5 appetizers don't all need to be fried.
Right.
Maybe 1.
Or none.
Or none. Or none.
Pick the meat appetizers. That's what I do.
All right. So what else did you notice?
I noticed that, it was funny because Brandon asked me how dinner was.
Oh, because he wasn't at the first one.
Yeah. And
he's like, explain it to me in great detail.
Yeah. He was like, so how was dinner? And I was like, well, for the first 2 hours, we just stood around and stared at each other, is what I told him. And he goes, really? I was like, well, it was drinking for 2 hours. And he was like, oh, great.
He knows this.
I know.
This is the playbook.
I know. I'm really, you guys are like, oh my God, is that how you really talk to your boss? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I was like, well, we just stood around and stared at each other for 2 hours. And he was like, oh, great. So it's funny because I didn't learn my lesson. I continued to go down at the agenda time for dinner the rest of the trip.
You big dummy head.
Well, I felt like I had to because it's
There's networking.
I flew all the way over to Europe to network. There's 70 HR people from 50 different countries.
Which brings your agenda to networking and not drinking wine.
Exactly. But Brandon was smart. He just came down 2 hours later.
He's like, screw this.
No, he did come down like, I would say probably like an hour into the networking, and he would drink water with me. So, I mean, he would come down eventually, but he was a little smarter, but he has been going to this thing for 20 years. So
this is almost, I need to rate this. This is almost the number one thing I get asked is how I navigate my work social events and alcohol. And my response was, if I can, I will find the bartender and tell them I'm the designated driver, which doesn't work in Europe because nobody drives.
Yeah.
So you can't do that in Europe. But here in the States, I'm like, hey, I'm the DD. But I don't want to feel left out. Can you put my sparkling water and lime in a cool glass so I feel fancy?
Yeah.
And they would like wink and then like get it, and then they'd give it to me, and then they'd do like a wink. Because typically they'll put water in a different kind of glass so people who are coming around know that you're drinking water, and that's how they fill it.
Yeah.
That's just service. That's the signal that they give. So I'm like, I need it in a fancy glass with some, can I have the cool ice cubes like everybody else has? That kind of a thing. So it just, or somebody will be like, what are you drinking? Because it looks like gin or, gin and tonic or something. And I'm like, wouldn't you like to know? And I just kind of like hold it to my chest, and then we just move on to the conversation. I mean, it's like, I don't have to tell them, it's a sparkling water with lime. Oh, sometimes I do. It depends who it is.
Yeah.
And how far down I want to go. But this is the number one thing of how I navigate. And there wouldn't be anything wrong now with them putting a splash of pineapple juice in it, or a splash of grenadine in it, or a splash of cranberry juice. Like there's nothing wrong.
Which gives it a little bit of color.
Yeah.
Which makes it look
not like water.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, service is so great at these places that they end up knowing who you are. They end up remembering who you are and your little extra special requests. So
yeah.
Outside of that, it's, although I try to make it pretty low key that I was a water drinker.
Which when I was over there and I told them, I didn't even tell them how much water I was drinking. I told them, it's about a gallon. At the time it was 180 ounces though, when I went over.
Oh yeah.
They told me, cause I was like, it's around a gallon. They're like, dead eye serious, look me in the eyes. You're going to die. I was like, oh, okay.
You're like, well,
thank you. I've been doing it for over a year.
Actually healthier than I ever have been, but
thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
I know you guys don't drink water here, but I'm okay.
I was the girl who brought her own water to the meetings. Because they had their own beautiful refillable glass, water bottles that you could pour into the glasses.
The small glasses.
The small glasses.
Because nobody needs more than 8 ounces of water at a time.
Which I would start out with theirs, but we would run out of water, and then like we're in the middle of the meeting.
I would hoard the water at the meetings.
I would too. Yeah. I was like,
I would have my own.
And then people would come and take my water, and I'm like,
that's mine.
Mother. So I would have my own water, because I walked to the grocery store the first day and literally bought a ton of water.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know what the situation was.
Right.
I had to be prepared with enough water to survive the week. So I had water in my room.
Sorry.
Oh, it's a mouse. Don't worry about it. So I had enough water in my room to survive. So I had my own, thermos Stanley cup type thing full of water in my bag. So I was this stupid American girl pulling out her water and like refilling her glass up because I ran out of water. And
this sounds stupid, but the two things I was worried the most about going over there was finding the water and finding the bathroom.
Same.
So stupid.
I was like, where's the bathroom? Where's the door? Because I need to be able to get out of here in the middle of a keynote speech to go to the bathroom.
Mm-hmm. So you want to position yourself like
Yes.
not maybe in the very back, but on the end. Yeah.
And they always sat me in the front. So that was very nice of them, but it's fine. So I was always the girl with the water, but back to I was noticed. So I tried to make it low key, but obviously they noticed I was drinking water. And it was interesting because I tried to spread my networking out as much as I could to different people. So I just tried to socialize myself with as many different groups as I could, especially when Brandon wasn't there, because I knew once Brandon got there, he'd want to sit together and like just talk about things together. So before he got there, I tried to like kind of just like hang out with like this continent and then hang out with that continent and just really try to socialize myself. And it was funny because dinners at night, I started to sit with Brandon and Brandon didn't know who these people were, but they would just cling on to us and they would just sit with us. And Brandon was like, oh, hi. And he'd introduce himself and they would actually say, hey, Lindsay, we're going to sit with you tonight. And I'm like, oh, that's totally fine. And they were like, we want to drink water.
People are watching.
Yes. They were like, I was like, oh, that's cool, and I was like, why? And they're like, we just want to drink water tonight. They just didn't want to drink alcohol. And they felt sitting with me
safe.
Was a safe space, a safer space to not have to give excuses to say they didn't want to drink. They didn't have.
That's got to feel so incredible.
It was because they let me be the one to say, I don't want anything to drink. And then it was almost just like
us either. We're good.
Yeah. This whole table's good. It was just like this whole table's good. We don't want anything to drink. And then it also became this whole table wants still water. That became a thing. Like this whole table wants still water. We don't want sparkling water. That became an us versus them.
You found your us.
Yeah, it was very interesting. The crowd did change out sometimes. It was funny. So it was different groups. I don't know if they all discussed it. Like you go sit with Lindsay this time because
at these
I don't
events,
know.
These are week-long events, and you just sometimes need. It's not like these
break.
People could have been on like a health journey behind it, but they're like, I just need a break from drinking.
Yes. I literally spent 3 hours last night drinking wine before dinner, and I really I don't need to drink tonight. It's just interesting. And I thought it was funny, and I would just look at Brandon and he kind of look at me, and we would just share a look. Like we just knew. We just
that you were influencing others just by doing what you were doing.
Yeah. We just recognized that. And it was Friday night. It was the last night before we left. And we were with the executive team and some other, because there was a lot of us from the U.S. that were there. Not at the People Management Conference. It was just the two of us. But for the Global Forum, there was a lot of people from the U.S. over there. So we saw about 30 of us the last night we were over there. And they were all drinking. Most of them were drinking. And they asked us if we wanted anything to drink. And Brandon and I were like, no, we're good. And they were like, why not? It's free liquor. It's when you're on a work trip, it's like you can get, Nancy was having her lemon, her lemon drop.
Yeah.
She loves her lemon drop martinis. And they're like, you should have it. It's so good, And I'm just like, no, we're good. And Brandon was just like, he said, we haven't had anything to drink all week. And
and I'm still alive. Can you believe it?
He was like, we're good. He was like, she hasn't had anything to drink all week. Neither have I. He's like, we're good. He was proud to just say like,
and how
we're good.
Good do you feel because of that?
Yeah.
But nobody talks about that part at the meeting. Nobody talks about how you have a headache the first 4 hours of the next morning and how you feel foggy brained by Thursday because you've been doing it for 3 days straight.
Yeah.
And it's just this badge of honor that people wear because that's what people do.
Yeah.
And you are just, how many times have we been with them in quotes?
Yeah.
And not with an us.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't paying attention to, I'm using those metaphorically in a sense, but if you're not looking for that kind of stuff, you don't find your us at these types of things, but they do exist. And maybe it doesn't.
It might be a very small, it might be one person.
It might be one person.
Right.
In Prague. And I think maybe I've mentioned this. I don't know if I've mentioned it on a podcast or if we were just talking about it in passing, that I was sitting at a dinner, and the individual I was sitting next to, he was a consultant that we got because we acquired a company this year. And so he wasn't Anderson Hauser, and I was sitting with the table's full of other colleagues from China. Actually, it was an amazing table to sit at. There was like 5 of them from China, and then I think he was Italian, but he actually lived in Germany. and he wasn't eating. I noticed he did have a beer in front of him, and everybody else had a beer, but they all only ever had one beer the entire night. And the two of them was like, no, I'm good. And he kind of looked at me and he goes, I'm good. I think I'll switch to water. Like they switched to water after just one. Not saying it should be a badge. Like nobody needs to we're not keeping score here.
Right.
But he wasn't eating. And I did get a small plate of something. And of course it was 8:00. I don't like to eat that late because I don't sleep as well, but it doesn't mean I won't. So I got a small plate. It was mostly meat because they have goulash. They have meat and like gravy pretty much over there. It was really good. And I had said, I was like, they started talking about not drinking. And I was like, yeah, it's like, it's more that I just don't sleep very well anymore. And I said, and technically you're seeing me eat. I really don't eat it's after 3:00 most days, not on the weekends. Sometimes like a little later, but typically I don't even have a dinner. And then the consultant sitting next to me, he turned to me, he goes, I don't eat after 4:30. And it was just like, he was like, did we just become best friends? Because and it was like, he found his us and like, he fully turned to me and I was like, and we're just the weirdest people. I mean, and then the other people were like, I couldn't imagine not going to a dinner and not eating with somebody because it's a very hospitality culture, especially from a China perspective, that we started talking about culturally, like that would be very hard for them to navigate. And we talked about that. And it was like an 18-minute walk back to the hotel in Prague. We talked about my journey because I didn't say anything about losing weight. And he was like, so why do you do that? Like he started probing and he brought it up again. I was like, well, I've lost a little bit of weight.
A little bit of weight.
And he was like, oh, I have too. He said he lost, I think 30 kilos, which is you take that times 2.2.
Okay.
So not an insignificant amount of weight.
70.
And I was like, and then I did the quick math. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to get this right. And I tried to convert it.
Yeah.
I was like 100 kilos?
I think it is 100.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh.
You're like, maybe I didn't convert that right.
Maybe she doesn't understand what this is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we were talking about you one night.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. We were talking about you to Judith.
Oh, yeah.
She loves you so much. And
I've only met her once, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
4 years ago, even.
She loves you so much. And we were at a bonfire one night. And it was a night that Brandon and I were smoking cigars. I smoked a cigar with Brandon. I'm not a smoker. But we were sitting, it was one of the last nights. And Brandon told her about this podcast.
Oh, God.
So we might have international fans, maybe. She went to go listen to it. And so hi, Judith, if you're listening. And we were telling her about your weight loss journey. And
because when I met her, I had just started it. I believe I was maybe down 50 pounds.
Okay.
60 pounds.
Okay.
But that's it.
Because Brandon was explaining to her, what this podcast is about. And I was explaining to her a little bit about the group so that if she does listen to this,
she's not surprised.
Understands when we talk about a community, what that means. Because it'd be a little weird if you don't know what in the world are we talking about. And Brandon we were trying to translate. He's like, Lori's lost a lot of weight. And he was like trying to translate it. And so we translated it to 100 kilos. And Judith just kind of looked at us and I was like, no, that's accurate. I was like, she's lost a lot of weight. She's been through a huge journey. And Judith was just really impressed with your journey. So it's just amazing.
Well, there are, I want to make sure we hit on what you need to have for what is required for sustainable change when we think about us versus them, because I think a lot of people could let this stop them. There's a lot of things that could be a gap between you continuing or not continuing.
Yes.
And self-determination theory. I mean, this is why pressure around this sort of subject backfires. Sustainable change requires 3 needs if in the context of self-determination theory. Autonomy. This is my choice, which you did.
Yep.
I'm good. You were like, I'm good. It wasn't I can't do this, or I shouldn't, or I won't, which is, it's that's like a murky area, but it is your choice. You could have chosen to have the bread. Absolutely. And you would have still lost weight.
Right.
If it was within a calorie deficit, of course.
Yeah.
So autonomy, competence. I can do this. That's the trust in yourself that we build. And then relatedness, which comes full circle with the us versus them. I still belong. I think it becomes really hard when the them is your close friends and family, and your us. You still need to find your us, your community, the people that are doing it, the ones that you can turn to and go, gosh, she gets up every day and drinks her water and gets her supplements and drinks her perfect aminos and her fiber. And that's my habit stack in the morning. I tell my group in the morning, I'm like, done. I know this sounds like Groundhog Day, but this is what sets me up for the best day I can have. I have my 40 ounces of water before I do anything else, before I have meal one, before I have my coffee, before I do anything. That is done. You are so dehydrated when you get up in the morning. Your body's primed for that much water. Get it in early. That's just what I do. If there hasn't been one morning that hasn't happened since I've been on the journey.
Yeah. I think that really helped on this trip because I had somebody who was doing it with me, and I found an us.
You found your us.
I found multiple us's and different us's. Honestly, it rotated. So it felt like there was a lot of us.
That's
honestly.
so awesome.
Which is interesting.
Even if they aren't an us,
Permanently.
if they're permanently, or it's someone who is still okay with you, that supports you doing it. For example, we went to a burger joint the first night that I was over there, and I was sitting next to Martina, and I was trying to navigate the menu because I didn't know where we were going to go, but I was like, I can do this. This is real life. You've got to be able to do this. You're fine. You can always find a meat, a protein. You can find a meat, a veg, and a fat. Come on.
Yeah.
Like, we'll be okay. And I was like, you know what? I think I want the burger. Was it weird that I don't want the bun? Like, I kind of said that. And she goes, just get it without the bun. I was like, well, I could order it just as it is, and then I could just not eat it. She goes, just order. Like, she looked at me like, just get it without the bun.
It's not a big deal. Just
like,
get what you
don't
want.
waste the bun.
Yeah.
Like, if you're not going to eat it, don't get it. Like, it was like, and it's not like she was doing any of that, but she was still like, she knew what I was doing. She was one that, it was really cute. She was like, you're doing so good. And then Franck Perrin, who it was her boss at the time, Martina's not in the role anymore. It was so cute. I think he didn't know what to say, but also he wanted to say something. I think I had another 50 pounds to go at the time when I saw him.
Yeah.
He was like, just keep going. He just, in his French accent, just keep going. And Martina goes, she will. Ugh. And she like pulled him away. Like, she's not going to stop. I think that was another moment for me that also spurred me on to keep going too.
Yeah.
Now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. Because I saw it, and they wanted to say something, but they don't always know what to say.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And you feel their awkwardness, and you just appreciate that they tried to find some kind of words to...
They cared enough to say something?
Yes. Yeah. They sat in their awkwardness, and they cared enough about you to experience it. They didn't hold it inside. And I really appreciate people who do that, because they could just bite their tongue. And a lot of people do.
A lot of people do, but I think people need to also know that while I don't want people to see me,
I know you can't see me. We say that a lot,
and I think that's what makes me emotional about it, is because I did feel alone on the journey a lot at the time, and then when people say something, you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
They can see me. They know what I'm doing. This isn't secret. I'm not hiding this.
Yeah.
In the way that I had tricked myself into thinking that I was maybe.
Yeah. 'Cause you're not talking about it at the time. So it felt personal and private, but it's not everybody can see it.
And so, there's an individual in the group, and I think she really gets in her head when people notice it. And I think that could have landed differently for different people. And I just want people to be prepared for that. Somebody will say something to you about it, and don't think that they're making it a big deal, but they are seeing it.
That's a really good point, because when people do say something about it in the past, when they vocalize it, it really does. It has messed with me before.
Me too. That's when I stopped that one time. You're not going to, how much more are you going to, I was 225 pounds when somebody said that to me.
Yeah.
And that was the
moment. You're not
moment.
going to lose any more, are you?
Yeah. I mean, how much more are you going to lose?
Yeah.
It was something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I don't know. Like maybe a little bit more, 100%. If I could trace it back that time, that's when I stopped.
Dad really got into my head the one time he said something to me. Like, it really messed me up.
I think if we know those moments are going to come, they don't catch us so flat-footed. So just talking, I mean, hopefully just somebody will hear this and they'll be like, okay, that might happen to me.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to stop if that does happen.
Right.
I think we have to be careful too. I know we're kind of coming up on, like, this is over an hour at this point. But I want to also make sure you aren't an us versus them in an evangelical kind of way, where you've put yourself up on this pedestal and it really is a toxic us versus them. Like, how superior am I that I run every morning? I actually don't run every morning. I'm not a runner at all. But there's this Irish comedian I follow, and she does get up and run, and she's joking. Obviously, she's a comedian. She goes, how superior am I that I run every morning? I'm a better human than you. Like, she actually says those kinds of things. And she's absolutely 100% joking, but it's, of course, in a very comedic way, but also it hits because it's real, because there are people out there that have some sort of belief behind that. And I think we have to also tap into, do I have a blind spot or a bias about thin people? Because if I do, if my bias or blind spot is that I feel like anybody who is thin isn't fun, they think they're superior, they're cheerleaders, they're cliquey, like, there's all these things that could come up for me of how I believe, my belief around being thin, will I also maintain it when I'm thin?
Right.
And that, I just think we have to be careful that it's not I'm on track and they're not. Look at me, I'm not eating bread and they are, they're rubbish. That's not it either.
Right. We have to be really careful, because when you first start something and you're doing great and you're really proud of yourself and you want everybody else in your life to be doing the same thing as you, because it's so great.
I did this.
Same.
I did that. And it's not that
you want it, and it's a beautiful thing to want that for somebody,
because you feel so good, and you don't know how bad you feel until you stop feeling that bad.
Right.
And they have it's like, I want them to wake up too. I want them to see that they can feel so much better, and they don't have to wake up with knee pain.
And it's okay to want that for them, but you can't judge them for it. Like, you can't judge them. What is it? Judge the sin, not the sinner. That's a saying.
Yeah.
I mean, we've done it before where we've see a stranger out in the public, and we're like, man, if they lost 50 pounds, they'd feel so much better. You can't think that about people just because you're on a weight loss journey. You know, it's.
I actually disagree. I think we can think that about people because of the journey we've been on. We are the ones that can, because we are the ones that know what it's like. Do we have a right to dip into their lives and say something to them if they're not ready to say it? Maybe not.
Yeah.
I disagree. I think we can say something on this podcast to the us that is ready to be an us. I don't think we could say it to them because they're not ready to hear it. And I'm using those in metaphorical terms.
I think we can try to help people. It's a slippery slope. I mean, that's a tricky situation.
I think
I'm with you. I see both sides.
I do too.
It's tough.
I think we have an obligation, because we have been through it, to help at least one person see their way to sustainable, healthy weight loss and change.
I think finding the right way to help them is an interesting journey for each person, though. And maybe saying it to them is the right thing, but maybe saying it to somebody else isn't the right thing. It just depends on who they are.
There was
it can do a lot of damage to somebody.
There's another podcast that is from another program, but I think it fits here. And it was like, who do you help? And the individual, they were working with a consultant at the time, and the consultant said, there's a time when, like the Coast Guard, if there is a boat that's overturned and there's a bunch of people in the water, who do they help first? They help the ones that are swimming towards them.
Yeah.
So help the ones
that are helping themselves,
that are wanting to be the us.
Yeah.
And, it's a really, like, I don't want people to think there is an us versus them.
Yeah.
But so reframe it to, like, I'm on track and they're not. That's the old frame, or it could have been. The new one is, I'm practicing a different set of skills right now.
Yeah.
Or if somebody asks me, like, what, you're not drinking? I'm like, ugh, I'm just doing a thing right now.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a permanent thing. This isn't a judgment thing. This isn't a moral thing. I'm not holding a mirror up to you to say that you should be doing this as well. I'm just personally doing something different right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it is forever.
Yeah.
But they don't need to know that.
Right now is for the rest of my life.
For the rest of my life. So there's that. Anything else you want to say about this one?
I would just say, because I teased everybody with the plane trip.
Oh, you have to finish that?
Yeah, I can finish that very quickly because I know.
Can you also say, sorry, I know we're over.
Yeah, this is a long one.
Can you talk about Brandon leaving his clothes?
Oh, yeah, it's so good. I'm sorry, Brandon, if you ever listen to this. Two things. Yeah. So
this is important because I was told to get rid of my heavy clothes and I didn't do it for the longest time. And there is some sort of a rite of passage that you have to do.
Yeah.
That. Okay, so go ahead.
So Brandon has lost a lot of weight. I can't tell you how much weight he's lost. He's told me, and I don't remember.
Significant enough that his clothes,
and plus it's his journey, his story. I probably shouldn't say them out anyways, but enough that his suits are too big on him, and he even met our the individual who runs our entire organization globally. He met him in this suit that's way too big on him. And Brandon's so funny. He was
like the kid from Big.
Yeah.
It wasn't that big, but
he shook this gentleman's hand and he was telling me about it. And he was like, I shook Peter Zelder's hand. And he was like, hey, I'm Brandon. Like, this is how he described it. Brandon's so funny. But so he wore these suits that were too big on him on this trip. And he literally hung them up in his hotel room and just put a note in the pocket that said, donate these to whoever needs them.
just love that.
Yeah. He just left them there. He was like, I don't need these anymore.
It's like such a metaphorical thing too. It's a physical, it's a leaving behind of more than just the suit.
Yeah. His old life. He is not going back. He's never going to wear those anymore. He does not need them. He will never wear those suits again. He is no longer that man. I love that for him.
I love that.
So beautiful. I just high-fived him. I was like, that is awesome. I kept telling him, I'm like, it doesn't look that bad. But then I cringed because you see these pictures of him and he looks like a little boy.
You don't see it until you see the pictures.
Yeah.
Because he's moving and, but the pictures are of a stagnant. So
yeah. It's funny.
Plane.
But then the plane, on the plane ride back, I actually tried to take a video and post it in school. But I couldn't post it because the connection was so bad on the plane. And then it was just too late to post anyway.
Which is where our community lives, in school.
In school. And it ended up being a 11-hour plane ride because we had to go a little farther north to avoid some
turbulence.
Yeah, some turbulence and some storms. So it was an hour longer than it was supposed to be, but they still would have tried to feed us 3 times. They tried to feed us 3 meals
in a 9-hour period.
In 11 hours.
11 hours.
But I think it was supposed to be a 10-hour flight, and they still would have tried to feed us 3 meals.
And you could have gotten snacks at any time in between those meals.
Anytime I wanted snacks, I could have gotten snacks. So they fed us breakfast, lunch, and dinner in, let's just call it 10 hours because it was supposed to be a 10-hour flight. And by the third meal, they were coming by and I just looked at this lady and I was like, I'm good. Like, I don't.
Please stop giving me shit.
I don't want any more food. Like, lady, I'm
Although
good.
you could get espresso on the plane.
That is
so great.
Is cool. I was known as English breakfast, the English breakfast seat, because I kept getting the English breakfast tea unsweetened. That was I was known as that girl. But it was funny because I was like, I'm good. I don't want it. And then I was like quietly taking a video to you guys, and I was like, what is wrong with these people? They keep trying to feed us all this
Maybe you
food.
should post it now.
Yeah, I don't think I saved it.
I think I have it. I think you sent it to me. Yeah.
Okay. I was trying to talk so quiet so people didn't hear me, but it's funny. So then when we got off the plane and we were walking to get through customs because we landed in Chicago, and Trammell, our VP of sales, was like, did anybody eat the third meal? He was like, what was the third meal? And it was interesting because everybody, it was like 10 of us were all walking together from Indris, and everybody's like, no, I didn't get it. I didn't need to eat a third meal. I didn't want it. I didn't get it. And I looked around and I just realized, I guess it's normal that people don't want 3 meals in 10 hours. It's not just me because I'm on this journey.
It's
normal.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of an us versus them moment again.
Yeah.
Very, very cool to see that. I'm just crazy people. Crazy. I think I called them crazy pod people that were trying to feed us 3 meals in 10 hours.
But the majority of people aren't. I mean, so us versus them isn't about food.
No.
When we stop treating the behavior change like a moral divide and start treating it like a season of learning, I think we create more room for ourselves and the people we love.
It's beautiful. Until next time, stay curious.
Keep experimenting.